Hello, I'm Samuel Pollen. I'm the author of a book called The Year I Didn't Eat, which tells the story of Max, who's a 14-year-old boy who is living through anorexia, an eating disorder, as well as just generally living through being a teenager and dealing with all of the things that brings up. I have done a couple of readings of this previously in a series. I think it's being posted by the first one was posted as part of Bookbound Festival. I've also done some on kind of Zuntold's social media. Zuntold is my publisher in the UK. It may also be going out with Yellow Jacket, who's my publisher in the US. But I am going to do another one of those today, so I'm going to read, and again, imaginatively, I'm just going to read the next bit of the book. So this is the second half of chapter 2. So just to recap where the story has got to so far, in case you haven't watched those, the story starts at Christmas. So Max is mid-eating disorder, so he is currently struggling with anorexia. He's already seeing a clinical psychologist and getting treatment. And Christmas is a situation that lots of people with eating disorder struggle with, because suddenly all of your normal routines are different and people are eating all the time and you're in this kind of social environment that's very tightly packed. There's lots of rituals around it, and that's a really hard thing to deal with. So Max has just stormed out of Christmas dinner with his family, okay? And that's where we're going to pick up the story. It was stupid. I know it was. It seemed like I didn't have another option. But there's always another option. I could have pretended I was ill. I mean, cold sweats and puking ill, not ill in the head ill. Auntie Jess asked me if I was ill, for God's sake. Why didn't I just say yes? I'm running towards the woods. We live on the edge of a big patch of woodland called Sheppel's Common. I go there a lot, more since I've been ill. It's where I run, or used to run, where I walk Sultan and watch birds. My hiding place. Once I hit the trees, I slow down and catch my breath. Now I actually feel ill. I guess running for 10 minutes right after you've eaten a roast dinner isn't the smartest idea. You could make yourself sick. The thought leaps into my head from nowhere. As Lindsay's very fond of telling me, anorexia is different for everyone. Technically, there are like 5 different types of eating disorders, and they all have different symptoms. Anorexics starve themselves, bulimics binge and make themselves sick, or take laxatives to get the food out of their body, and so on. But the boundaries are pretty fluid. For example, lots of anorexics make themselves sick occasionally. I've never done it though. I'm too scared. I can't stop picturing myself ripping my throat open or choking to death on my hand or something else equally horrible. I'm not much of a binger either. I've never gobbled a whole pack of donuts or a family-sized pizza. The furthest I'll go is licking the knife after I've cut something to get a few extra crumbs, and then hating myself for it. I'm the most controlling, the most neurotic sort of anorexic, the restrictor. Everything is about numbers, rules, routines. It's not the kind of eating disorder you read about in papers. It's boring. Anorexia, slow and steady. And then, before I know it, before I can think myself out of it, I'm crouched down next to a tree with my fingers down my throat. If I'm going to be like this, I want to do it right. I want to be the textbook anorexic, the one everyone wants me to be. I gag and immediately remove my fingers. I'm too scared. I cough, spit, slump down on the mud and leaf mulch. My throat stings and I feel a hot lump forming like I'm about to cry. You can't even do anorexia right. What kind of anorexic can't make themselves sick? I call her Anna, her, it, the monster inside me, the voice inside my head. Imaginative name, right? It doesn't actually feel like someone else. It feels like me. They're my thoughts, my feelings. But Lindsay says it's good to externalize the disease. So I'm doing my best. That's why I write my diary and address it to her. To remind myself that my disease isn't me. I haven't told Lindsay about that, though. It's too embarrassing. Like the kind of thing a kid would do. At the moment, she's in my head 24/7. When I stand in a mirror and turn to my side, she tells me, "Your belly sticks out." When I'm about to eat a cereal bar, she says, "Better check the calories." Even though I've already checked them 100 times. Even though I could recite them in my sleep. She asks questions all the time too. Do you really need to eat that? Is Robin avoiding you? Is that girl across the street staring at you? I try to ignore her, but she never shuts up for long. And right now, she's really mad at me. I start to cry. Don't be so pathetic. You're acting like a whiny little girl. Max, are you there? Robin. Over the years, my brother has spent as much time in these woods as I have. I haven't exactly chosen the greatest hiding place. I look around. This bit of the woods is mostly birch, light and airy, spread out. Anorexics are good at avoiding people, but right now I've got nowhere to hide. I stand up and walk toward my brother. Did he hear me retching? Will he say anything if he did? Hey, I say. Hey, you alright? I wipe my mouth with my sleeve. I'm fine. You scared us, you know. I'm sorry. Robin shrugs, like he doesn't know whether to accept my apology or not. At least you gave me an excuse not to listen to Uncle Rich anymore. He grins. Come on, I've got something to show you. I figured Robin would be on strict orders to bring me straight home, but if he is, he ignores them. We walk deeper into the common, then loop back around towards home. We cross the peat bogs and end up at Deanwater, a big peanut-shaped artificial lake. As usual, it's teeming with ducks, geese, coots and moorhens. At the narrowest part, a heron stands on a stump and surveys his terrain. I wish I had my new binoculars with me. We sit down on a bench and look across at the water. Look out across the water. There's a sour taste in my mouth. I guess a bit of bile came up when I was retching. I swallow. My throat feels raw. Robin reaches into his pocket and pulls out a pack of chewing gum, offers it to me. It'll take the taste away. A bolt of ice shoots down my spine. So he did hear me. No thanks, I mumble. It's sugar-free, Robin says. I know, I say. It's not that. I look down, embarrassed. We both know it's not that. I'm suspicious of anything that has flavour. Coffee, gum, Diet Coke. Even when I know, rationally, there are no calories in it. Suit yourself. Hey, he says. He reaches into his coat and pulls out my wooden box. Any guesses yet? Why did you... I begin, but I let myself trail off. You learn not to ask why when you're talking to Robin. I still have no idea what the box is, so I just shake my head. Feel under the bench, he says. I must look confused because he adds, trust me. That seems to be Robin's catchphrase today. I don't really want to feel under the bench because if school's anything to go by, it'll be covered in old gum, or worse. But reluctantly, I do as my brother says. I start in the middle, sliding my hand towards the end. It feels like the underside of a bench, wooden slats covered in a powdery layer of lichen and mould. Cold, wet metal. On the plus side, there's no chewing gum. Then, right before I get to the end, there's a bump. Something or other juts out below the bench. I'm so surprised I actually jump. Robin smiles, like he was waiting for this reaction. Take a look, he says. I have to pretty much lie down on the ground to see under the bench, in a puddle. I'm plotting ways to pay Robin back when I realise what I'm looking at. A box the same shape as mine, only a bit smaller and made out of black plastic. Robin, I say, did you steal my present from a park bench? He laughs. Pass it over then, he says. I pull the box off the bench. It comes away more easily than I thought it would. I turn it over and look at the 4 little magnets in the corners. What is it? I say, getting up and passing the box to Robin. He looks at me, grinning like an idiot. That's what I want you to tell me. I'm going to leave it there. Short little bit today. So if you've watched my other videos, I don't know quite what order these are going out in, but you might have some idea already what that box is. But it is a little bit of mystery in a book that is not really a mystery book. You know, it's a book about issues, about what Max is going through. But part of the plot is this storyline around a way that Max finds to communicate with the world around him. Thanks very much for listening. So I'm Samuel Pollen. This book is called The Year I Didn't Eat. It's a book that is written primarily for kind of teen audience, but which people kind of all ages have got a lot out of, they tell me, particularly if they know someone who's been through an eating disorder or kind of want to understand what that's like. I would say if you have an eating disorder, as you probably got from this reading I've just done, or if you've had that experience in the past, I would read it with a bit of caution. You know your own limits and kind of what might be triggering to you, but certainly this is a book that deals with the reality of an eating disorder, so you might find this quite a tricky read. Yeah, that's all really. So this book is published by Zuntold in the UK and by Yellow Jacket in the US. It's out now. You should buy it. That would be lovely. You should get it from a library. That's also lovely. And thanks very much for watching. Take care.